Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, In the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode. Today is a little different because it is In the Tank with Minnow. I have no idea where Fish is. Kurt and I were just debating how long it would take him to come in if I started without him. So here we sit. Anyways, we hope that you guys had a wonderful week. Oh, look. Look
Kelly,
who's here.
what color do I have?
Oh my God, it looks very pink. Although we'll call it salmon on you. But it does look very pink. You were... We got here today, and he was not wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And I said, no Hawaiian shirt today? And he said, don't worry, I'll take care of this. You get started without me. You're so silly.
Yeah, I have to admit, I might get away with a salmon in that other color.
Yeah.
You're not getting away with calling this salmon.
No.
This is not
And
happening.
that hat is a very vibrant pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would look better on you than it does on me. I'm just saying,
I mean, if today wasn't, a hair wash day, then I would think about it. But.
So I had to do that.
You're so silly.
So I was where was I at? I was somewhere, and we were talking. Oh, it was Kurt. We were at Straw Hat, and he turns to his brother and he says, "This is called man spreading." I was cracking up. I was like,
I'm telling you, it's catching.
It's going to be a
catching.
thing. It will be a thing, and every man will go, I just didn't know there was a name.
I didn't know there was a name for it.
Yeah.
I know. And hopefully there's no negative connotation around it, right? Like, oh, of course, take up more room than you need to. I mean, we just do it in a nicer way. Like, I could take up more space. I just, prefer to do it a little differently.
It's a girl thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So nobody would say woman spreading.
Yeah,
okay?
no.
That's not going to happen.
No, I don't think that would be a thing.
But with men, I could see why your son said, I mean, we just kind of.
I'm telling you, our couch is not big enough. We need a bigger sectional, but our living room isn't big enough for these. Yesterday or maybe the day before, I'm in the kitchen, I'm baking away, and all I can hear is my boys arguing about who gets what section of the couch. My oldest is like, I get the back section so I can spread out. They're both laying, like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, grandparents, head to toe. And it's like, there is plenty of space. And if you guys can't figure it out, turn your bodies the other way. But I think they just love to argue sometimes. It's all about who gets the most room.
It's just siblings.
Yeah.
We were, there were 7 of us. And so, but with the boys, it was really easy because we just brutalized our sisters.
Yeah.
And then brutalized each other. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Oh, it's true. You just, arm wrestle your way through the ranks until you're the winner, and then you call the shots.
Yeah. My little brother swears that we screwed him up for life.
There is something to be said, though. It's like, I didn't feel like my brothers and I fought a lot. But now looking at my kids, I'm like, were we like that all the time? Were we just constant? And I think part of being a parent is that you don't remember, right? My mom's like, I don't think you guys fought this much. I'm like, I think we did.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important. Like, I grew up with sisters.
Yeah.
And so with women, I just kind of we can be friends, right?
Yeah.
And yet there is that little picking on, right? That if you have sisters, you grow up with it.
Yeah.
And my sisters were able to give it back. I mean, it wasn't like it was a one-sided thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's an important part of families. I mean, I think I'm probably pro large family because of that. My wife was an only child, and she's just weird.
I'm sorry, Patty.
If she's watching,
Yeah.
I'm dead by then.
Yeah.
Really?
If we don't see Fish next week, we know what happened. I'll bring a shovel over, Patty.
That won't be a pink shirt. That'll be bloodstained.
Yeah.
A bright red,
It really is, though. I think it's just part of like sibling time. You learn to stand up for yourself, and it's okay to pick on your siblings, right? But nobody else better pick on them.
Nobody kicks my dog but me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you grew up here, right? Did you tell
No.
me? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in like out kind of by the Bay Area, Pleasant Hill, Martinez.
Oh, yeah,
is where I spent most of my life. Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you, we got a special guest today. Well, I don't know how special he is. I hate to say that. I hope he doesn't turn my phone off. Start telling people
They're all special.
Yeah, their head gets big and we can't get them out of the studio.
They get stuck in
with
here.
a wheelbarrow. But he really is a great guy, very involved in the community. And did you know him before?
No, I mean, I know this will be fun. I'm excited to kind of get to know a little bit more about him. I've seen him, like we run in some of the same circles, and I've heard him, if that's a clue. But
it is a clue.
It is a clue. But yeah, I don't know him well.
All right. Well, we're going to hope what Kelly and I try to do is to invite people in and help us all know them a little better. And we always, I hate to say this, I don't know if it's saying much for you and I, sometimes we can't get past pronouncing their names.
Oh my gosh, I was just in my head like, can I pronounce his name?
The secret is.
We just make up a new name.
How do you pronounce your last name again? And they go, because you forgot it totally. And they go, Jones?
Smith, yeah. You learned it here.
Sometimes those little tricks do not work.
Yeah, sometimes they backfire.
So we're going to be back. I'm going to try to talk Kelly into putting this shirt on. It just looks better on her than on me. But if that doesn't happen, so anyway, stay with us. We love doing this, and it is our hope that you get to know one of the people in your community just a little better. 93Q Radio was an opportunity for what's called an LPFM to give the community a voice.
The big part of what's happening here is it's us. It's the community of us.
The work that Mr. Fischetti has done with us to promote public education has been absolutely groundbreaking.
They have the pulse of our community, from the nonprofits to the local governments. If you want to find out what's happening in our community, get on board with 93Q.
And 93Q does so much to help our community, helps us promote our local events, as well as local businesses, and tell our story about what we do here in Yuba Sutter.
The folks that work here, they're part of our community, so they understand our needs, and that's important.
Local radio is so important during times of emergency. They're there. We lean on them to provide information to our public.
My wife and I are glad to support 93Q. We're going to do it on a monthly basis, but I really recommend that if you want to make your community better, this is a great place to take a first step right here.
So if you can, reach deep into your pocket and give to 93Q.
93Q is a great partner for law enforcement, and they're a great partner for the Yuba Sutter area.
We're really asking people if you can give $10, $15, $20 a month, and then that enables us to continue to put small business spots on the air, nonprofits, organizations that they're using every dollar they got just to operate, and they don't have extra money to spend on really promoting their cause. And that is why community radio, to me, I'm grateful to be part of it, and that's why it's important. All right, we're back, and I couldn't talk Kelly in wearing this. I don't know, she felt like if she wore this shirt, she'd be forced to manspread.
Well, and I then would have to start wearing a Hawaiian shirt each week, and let's face it, that's just not my jam.
Feel free in the comments below.
Stop it.
I'd like to see Kelly in a Hawaiian shirt.
I think I have to wear a muumuu. Don't I have to wear a muumuu?
A muumuu.
Yeah,
she can
that
do a
is
muumuu.
not going to be a thing.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to start that.
No, your thing is hats.
Yes,
Okay.
hats I could do.
All right. Anyway, we have our special guest here, Virgil Atkinson.
Yep.
Atkinson. And I've known Virg for a while, but we're going to get to know Virgil. We're going in deep.
That's
Put
my
the
favorite.
scuba gear on.
Yep.
And so we're going to ask Virg everything. Hey, thanks for being willing to get in the tank.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to
Yeah.
know the water temperature is wonderful.
That's it.
Perfect, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's heat it up a bit. Come on. If you could be a fish, what kind would you be? She's
Probably
a
a carp,
Ah,
because they have little value except to plant a tree over.
wow. I didn't
Interesting.
know that. Did you know that?
No.
Can't eat them.
Yeah.
Too many bones, but
Oh, that's like that. When I first came, a guy said, "Oh, you got to go fishing for shad."
shad,
Shad.
yeah.
And I said, "Right." He said, "Well, you can't eat them, but they're fun to catch."
They're more than fun to catch.
Yeah,
They're huge.
Yeah, so you catch them and then you release them because you can't eat them.
Yeah.
And I was like, So, you got any questions for Virgil?
Well, I mean, the one that we always start with is, where did you grow up?
Yeah.
I grew up in a small town in Northern California called Yuba City.
Oh, you are from
No, you
here, born
didn't.
and raised?
I was born on Plumas Street in the original hospital
Stop it.
before they built the hospital.
Now, all the years I've known him, I never knew that.
How did you not know this? This is
I
the
don't
question
know.
that you ask everybody.
He is literally a native.
Man, were you the first person ever born here? I'm just kidding.
Well,
He was
let's see.
friends with a Maidu chief.
My sister was born the same place 3 years before me.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, one of my sisters, but
You are born and raised here.
So, where did your parents come from?
my parents lived in Utah,
Okay.
and during World War II, my dad found a job in San Francisco building ships. And so they moved to San Francisco. I think it was Haight-Ashbury area, but way before.
How long was your dad's hair?
way before any of that happened. I think 3 or 4 of my siblings lived there, and loved it back then. And then they moved to Marysville, District 10, because my dad wanted to grow peaches and raise cattle. And that lasted just under a year. And then they moved.
Well, come on, from building ships to raising cattle.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's a reach.
Where he came from in Camas, Utah, Francis and Camas, Utah, that's near Park City, if you know where Park City is. Wonderful snow area, very cold. And so he just really didn't want to be a peach farmer. I don't even think he harvested one peach before he didn't know there was a lot of work involved in peaches. He knew about cattle. That was common where he came from. Chickens and all kinds of animals, that was common. But I don't think they had peaches there. But he moved to Yuba City, and he was very familiar with the construction industry. So we started building houses for Pearsall Construction. Pearsall was the premier home builder way back when, for primarily custom homes. They built shopping centers and that type of stuff.
So, how many siblings do you have?
Well, the first one, a girl, died, and my mom was told that she couldn't have any more, so she had 8 more. So technically, there's 9.
My kind of woman.
What do you mean I
Don't tell
can't
me
have
I
any more? Come here, Papa.
The oldest one is still living, and she's 93.
Wow.
As long as she doesn't know that I just said that.
You might not be living once she finds out that
The
you
next
shared
one's
her age.
92 or 91, and as long as she doesn't know that I said that.
Yeah.
She just had her birthday a couple days ago.
Wow.
And so, where do you fit in the family?
Last.
You're
the baby? That experience. I mean, I knew there was.
You knew there was something.
Just last.
Wow.
What's the age gap?
Well, 93 is
I
the
wasn't gonna
oldest
ask your
living,
age.
and I turned 70 in May. So you can put a few years on that.
Yeah, that's a good little age gap there.
2 of my sisters had children before I was born, so I was an uncle before I was born. In fact, I shared something recently on Facebook about my sister's upcoming birthday, in that she tried to tell me what to do. And I said, "You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom." And she said, "I know, I'm your sister." And I said, "You're not my sister. You're Rick's mom." That was her son. Well, nobody told me that was my sister. Nobody told me. So anyway, that's how I found out that she was my sister. And my other sister, who also had a son that was my best friend, I didn't know she was my sister either.
Yeah, because they're already out of the house.
Right, yeah.
That makes sense.
Did they stay in this area?
One of them did, the one that just had her birthday, and the other one lives in Utah.
Oh, so she went back to Utah.
Well, they lived here for quite a while, and then moved to Oroville, and then moved to Utah. Work opportunities. So
Okay.
Have you ever moved away?
I moved away for 2 years when I went on a mission for the church for 2 years in wonderful Los Angeles.
Oh, that is an interesting mission trip.
A very foreign mission.
Yes.
And we taught people the gospel of Jesus Christ in every language you can think of. Now, I didn't speak the language. We talked to them, and then an interpreter would. And nowadays they have missionaries in all different languages, so you can just call up that missionary to speak whatever it is. But,
so how old were you when you did that?
I was 19.
Oh my gosh.
That had to have been a little eye-opening for you.
Yeah.
Leave Yuba City and go to LA.
That was an experience. But, I got to meet people of all faiths, of all cultures.
Yeah.
It was an incredible experience, which I think everyone should have some kind of a service opportunity. 1 year or 2 years, not a month here or a month there, but a serious giving back to God or to your country or to whatever your passion might be. But I think it's really important that everyone has an opportunity to do that.
I when I went in the military, I did my whole 4 years overseas, other than when I went in and got trained and when I got discharged. The rest of the time I was in the Pacific, in Philippines and in Japan. And I tell people I wouldn't trade that experience for anything, living in another country, especially for a long. I was in Japan for 3 years. And I just loved it.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Doitashimashita.
And so yeah, I can get that. But Kelly said, which I thought was kind of cool. She said that's like being in a foreign country, right? L.A. I mean, it's like a whole different atmosphere than here.
There's no orchards.
No.
There's no rice.
Yeah.
It's everything's, including the river, is all concrete.
Yeah.
And then when you come home after 2 years, you're going, dirt. There's dirt.
Yeah, greenery. What is all of this?
I mean, it's just a wonderful experience to be there, not because of the place, but because of the people. Yeah. That is where it's just amazing. People are looking for something all over the world, including today. But they're just looking for something that is missing in their lives. And it is a great opportunity to be there and to say, what about this?
What about that? Yeah. Yeah, if you consider,
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, only because I know you had a construction company, was that from your dad's, and did you just continue it? Or,
no, I wanted nothing to do with construction. Nothing.
That's usually how it starts.
I wanted nothing to do with it.
So what did you do? I mean, where'd you go to work?
So can I start before that?
Yeah.
So at about 4 or 5 years old,
that's really
I was helping all of my neighbors, most of whom were retired, do gardening.
Oh.
And I loved to help them. I didn't know I was allergic to everything that I touched, because I was, but that's how I got started doing gardening. And eventually, before I went on my mission, I started mowing lawns. At one point later on, I had mowed every single lawn within a 1 or 2 block radius of my house at one point or another. Maybe it's a one-time deal, maybe it's ongoing. A fun experience, I was with some friends, we're driving down the street, and I said, there's a house that I take care of weekly. It's the Dana and Dana corporate house on the corner of Bridge and Clark Avenue. I said, look at that. Look at those bushes. Look at, isn't that, look. She goes, yeah, but that house over there looks awesome too. I said, I know, I trimmed those bushes across the street. But it was a great experience. It was good money, you know, when you don't have a really, really good education, when you're a college dropout. Yeah. And so I got my contractor's license and I started doing landscaping and gardening.
So you got into it from outside until you went to building the inside.
Well, along the road, we started buying and selling houses. And we found this piece of property that I wanted to build a wholesale nursery on. And the community was outraged over having a wholesale nursery in their neighborhood, despite the fact that it's clear off on Township Road. And so the neighbors signed a petition against it. So I told the Board of Supervisors, we can build a nursery, regardless of what they say, because it's zoned agriculture, or we'll build houses. So we built houses.
So, well, that brings up an interesting point, because you can't go down Garden Highway without seeing Sierra Gold.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They own,
yeah.
Since I've been here, I don't know if they already own that property or if they keep buying, but man, it's like the whole, you know, and so that is commercial, right? Wholesale, whatever you call it.
Yeah, it was going to be similar to that, except we would have potted plants that we were selling. Okay. I wanted to do sod too and sell sod, but that takes a lot of land. Incidentally, I had the privilege of meeting Walter Berg, the original owner, unless his dad had it before him, of Sierra Gold, and went around his house with him, and he showed me all the grafting and all the neat stuff that he did. So that was a cherished experience to get to meet him.
You still like to do that stuff, Virg?
Well, you've been to my house.
Yeah.
I have a rather large back lawn on top of the back lawn and front lawn, and so I like doing
the
gardening.
Oakland A's had considered his place.
As their next park.
It was a tough choice, right? Because Virgil's is a little bit more comfortable, right? But they decided to go in the city.
But there's a great stage area there for music and for weddings. We built it primarily for weddings, but now everybody wants to get married out by the willow tree, and then they use the stage area for food and whatever else. But very good place. And so having a background of landscaping and gardening hasn't hurt in retirement.
So I've been in your home. It's a beautiful home. It really is.
Thank you.
You know, but you walk in, how high is that ceiling? And who has to clean the cobwebs?
Nobody cleans the cobwebs.
It's crazy.
In fact, somebody just knocked down one that I was saving for Halloween. And, I mean, we're only just a couple months away, and they knocked down my decorations, and I wasn't very happy about it. In fact, it was Tressie that did it, I think. So just not a good situation. You should ask people before you remove their Halloween decorations.
How high is that ceiling?
It's 18 feet.
Gosh.
But that was only because the architecture needed something on the outside for the two roof sections to die into so that it didn't look funny.
So now I have to ask, do you put an 18-foot Christmas tree in there?
No.
That's a lot.
You don't go cut down like a Griswold tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we just got rid of this last Christmas, we got rid of our tall tree and we went with something more manageable for the first time, because it took 2 or 3 people to put up the tree.
Yeah.
So,
a tree raising party.
Yeah, and not everybody was willing. It's kind of like, I've been doing this for you for 15 years now. It's time to get something smaller.
Every year I tell my wife, we're not setting up a tree, we're not putting lights up, we're not doing any of that. Baby, the kids are growing. And the grandkids, they're really up here. And every year I put the tree up.
I was going to say, how dare you deprive her of happiness?
She's just really sweet. She just looks at me,
Yeah, right.
Not happening. So a couple of years ago, my wife said the same thing. we're just not going to decorate. Well, she decorates to the hill. I mean, there are display areas for Santa Clauses or for whatever, all over, nativity scenes all over the house. Sometimes she puts out tables and decorates them for some special 21 something that you have Christmas stuff on. And she just said, I'm not going to do it this year. Well, she did it.
I was going to say,
It
did
may
she
have
follow
been
through?
simplified minorly, but she just is amazing at setting up things for Christmas. Well, any holiday.
Yeah.
So I went to you and at one point and I said, hey Virgil, you build homes. I want to put one of those homes in my backyard. And I told you know that Yuba City had given permission to.
Finally?
Yeah, I guess.
After all these years?
Yeah.
Do the
Finally,
ADUs, is that what we're talking
finally
about?
following state law after all these years, yes.
So Vern says to me, well, maybe I can find somebody to do that. He said, I'm not doing that anymore. And I was like, okay. So he's retired.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not retired. I'm just retired at doing it for other people.
Yeah.
He's just picky on what you just didn't
Wow.
approach it properly.
I should have had you do it.
Picks and
He
chooses.
just said, Kelly, whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't know why you didn't come to me
I
first.
know.
I would have helped you navigate this.
Yeah, could have had that. You know, my wife had turned it into a she shed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it'd be like,
I built a couple of those, so he sheds and she
sheds.
They're awesome. They're
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah. Our house didn't come with a garage. And minimal storage because it's 100 years old. And so that was my Mother's Day gift to myself was a she shed. Like
Oh,
at least
come
we
on.
can put camping stuff up there and Christmas and it won't have to be in a closet somewhere in the house. I know, now you want a he shed.
Well, no, I'm just thinking.
He's over here like, I see your wheels turning.
I own 2 sheds that I need to move.
Oh,
Okay.
chat with me after the
You
show.
know, they move them.
So Roxanne kept her Christmas decorations on 3 pallets in the shop. The shop's
I saw your
6,000
shop.
feet.
Yeah.
And so we put it way up high, and the Christmas tree would go up there along with 2 or 3 other pallets of Christmas decorations. And we'd bring it over with a forklift. I have pictures of her driving the
Oh, my
forklift,
gosh.
bringing it over to the house, and then this long job of bringing it inside and then setting it, and then taking it all down and putting it all back. So finally, I built her space, lots of space in the house, in abandoned bedroom closets that kids aren't using anymore. But that wasn't sufficient. She filled all of them up, and so it's interesting.
Roxanne seems like a fearless farm girl.
She is.
She just
is. She has more chickens
I mean, she
and goats and ducks
Tell me about
and
this.
turkeys. And, of course, our son and his wife are helping to do all that stuff.
Yeah, you told me you got turkeys now.
3 turkeys, yeah.
And I
At
said,
the house?
At the house. They're in a cage. I mean,
Okay, so
they
how many chickens do you have?
I can't count.
I need to come over.
So
he has a big place.
the chicken
Yeah.
coop is like 30 feet long and like 12 feet wide and has watering things and food things and all that.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool,
Yeah.
except there's too many chickens.
Don't ever say that again.
yeah.
But all the
ask him-
babies are like, there's probably 20 babies
Yeah.
ready to produce.
Wow.
So I said Thanksgiving, there's only going to be 2 turkeys. I mean, that was my thinking. You know what
No,
he said?
there's going to be 0.
No
No
turkeys.
turkeys.
0. All 3 are gone.
Lenny, Benny, and Sammy are gone, buddy. They're out of there.
They don't even have names.
Yeah,
A friend of mine
yeah you
had-
don't want to name them.
A friend of mine bought 2 steer, and his kids, oh, we're going to have pets. No, ribeye, T-bone.
Yeah.
Ribeye, T-bone.
I had a cow named Ribeye, and my kids were like, it's like, Dad, why'd you name the cow Ribeye? I said, you'll find out later. You'll be enjoying that cow a lot more than you are now.
Yes.
So when you transitioned into, from very young age, you had a work ethic. And so nothing really changed. I mean, you're mowing lawns, you're doing gardening, you're doing everything. And have you always been that way? Because your place, you got to constantly be working.
Was there a choice?
I don't know. I mean, it was like
No, there wasn't.
It just seemed like. I mean, I feel that way. I'm nonstop. I mean, what's the, what good would it do for me at this point to sit down in front of the TV? It's like I want to do stuff still.
I like watching movies, good movies, but there's not a lot of time. So I have a theater system that's just incredible, but I don't get to use it because there's so many other more important things to do than watching movies. I had a DVD player that held like 300 or 400 DVDs. Well, now you just watch everything online.
Yeah.
I'm talking way back. But I just love movies. I love good quality movies. And yet they're just awesome how many other things there are to do that will stop you from doing those kinds of things that technically might be considered a waste of time.
So let's talk about one of the things that you do, and you love music. Now, I don't know if you love as a listener as much as you do as a player. You love playing music.
So we're doing some things around the house, and I break out these boxes of records.
No.
Boxes, and boxes. And huge piles of 45s, but mostly albums. Some of them double albums. When I say double, I mean I bought two, one to open and one to never
collect.
open.
Yeah.
So Doobie Brothers and others, just I'm not going to open that second one. But there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And I found two record players that are those zero ones that the needle follows the exact trajectory of the. I need to do something with all that stuff, by the way. All these amps and speakers and stuff that I'm not using anymore. So I've always been a fan of listening to music. We moved in our first house and get a phone call from the neighbor, who's still a friend, by the way. And he says, I got kids and they're sleeping. And your music is really, really loud and all your windows and doors are closed. So it must be really loud. Well, the speakers, these big old JBL 12-inch speakers and a mile high. I mean, just, my wife was really good to me. She made sure that I had things for music.
You know, you were talking about 45s, and I recently bought a jukebox, and it had 80 45s in there. Old stuff, right? I mean, just incredible. So I was telling my son about it, and he said, Dad, they actually make new band 45s because a lot of things are being remastered.
Right.
And so, and I was like, wow. So anyway, when the gal sold me the jukebox, she said, it doesn't work, but they said it's just a part, right? So I got downstairs with it, right? I have it downstairs from the studio. And Lonnie and I open it up, and Lonnie reaches in there. I don't even know what he touched, and all of a sudden it starts playing. The lights come on, and we're like, all right.
Needed a part.
Yeah. And well, Gary's going through old music for the station, and he ran across this group called Skip and Flip, right? And I never heard of them, right? And so we get that, and he looks on there, and sure enough, there's a 45 by Skip and Flip.
That's funny.
You know, so but you play music. You like playing music. I played music with you, and I've seen you around town playing. So is that just always kind of being there? When did you start playing guitar? And you know,
I think I started in either 5th or 6th grade.
Wow!
But I was terrible.
So you're not much better now? No, what are you trying to say?
I'm not. My next door neighbor.
Yeah, he's getting, it takes a little while.
My next door neighbor took a silver toned guitar and tuned all the strings the same. So all I had to do was put my finger on the fret, and I could play a song along with her son, who played really well. So that was my first experience, and we were in a Battle of the Bands. What do you call that?
Yeah.
Some type of a contest, and the other guys were awesome, and we sucked. I sucked. The other guys in the group were good, but anyway, that was my first experience, 5th or 6th grade. I can't remember which it was.
Well, now you're getting the opportunity. There's a music scene in our area.
There is.
With, I have met some absolutely phenomenal musicians. And, people wouldn't think of that. I mean, I joke and kid with you. You were like Mr. Yacht Rock. You play all
I didn't even know what that was before he brought
There's
it
a
up.
station called Yacht Rock.
Yeah,
too.
I didn't know. I had no idea what that was.
It was a DJ in LA that started playing music, and it's really soft rock from 70s, early 80s. And he said, if you were sitting on a yacht, having a glass of wine, what would you be listening to? And it's like Christopher Cross, Michael McDonald is like the king of yacht rock, right? And it's that stuff. But you play a lot of stuff, and it's soft rock. But you play things like Clapton, No Tears in Heaven, right? You just different songs you pick up, and you started connecting with other musicians. Now I don't know how you and I connected musically. I don't remember if it was an open mic that you were playing at or something, but I, up to that point, I really didn't know that you played. And now, every time you turn around, you were telling me you get offers to play at places out of state. And it's just really crazy.
Some of those you create. They don't always just happen. But you just ask people, hey, can I come play it up in Ashland or Medford or over at Fort Bragg or what? You just ask people, is there a place to play? Oh, yeah, there's a place to play. And then you go play. So it's not always... you're not necessarily invited.
Oh, you're inviting yourself.
But I've been invited back. But you got to go play the first time. That's always fun.
If you don't get invited back, it's
and then you have friends like John Cassidy.
Yeah,
and John will find opportunities to play all over, including last night, which I said, no, I'm not going. No, really, no, I'm not going. So there's always a place to play in our community or out of our community, especially when you have friends like John Cassidy.
Well, and there's a lot of the musicians in this area that if you let them, they'll just jump up on stage with you.
Oh, yeah.
And great musicians. I mean, I think Ken Uemoto and Ken can play bass. He can play. I mean, he can sing.
You get up on the stage to play, and then you say, "What song are we going to do?" Because it's so easy playing with people with great harmonies. He can play bass. He can play rhythm. He can play ukulele. Whatever you want. I mean, those are talented.
I just look for young gun lead guitar players, and they make me sound good. Right? They just rip. I sing a couple lines and then just play rhythm guitar, and they take off with it. But we have really a lot of that here, and just really good musicians. We have open
and
mics.
good people.
Yeah, and it's just fun. It's a fun place to play music. So, where is Virgil going? I mean, besides heaven. I mean, before that.
I hope. I really seriously hope that I get to be there.
Well,
there might even be a side door or something they'll let me in on. But
I talked to Dad, and I said, hey, could you do something with this guy?
Yeah.
You just have to invite yourself for a gig. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, hey, could I play in heaven, right? Yeah. So what do you got? I mean, are you just kind of enjoying life, or you got something in front of you that you're going, I still haven't done that. I want to do that.
There's places I would like to go that I haven't been. I've walked where Jesus walked. I've been in his tomb. I've been where he preached. I've been where he walked. I've been where he bled in the Garden of Gethsemane. That's a treasured opportunity. I didn't have the money to go, so we put it on a credit card. Took me 3 or 4 years to pay it off.
But it was
I would never, ever regret that experience of being able to do that. But there's lots of other places, even in the United States or even in California, that I would like to go to and see. I'd like to go see the dead presidents on a mountain and those kinds of things. We just haven't been there. Kentucky Derby. Roxanne would like to go to a Kentucky Derby or even just be there. So there's those kinds of things. But I'd like to keep playing music. I think I'm past where I wanted to record a lot of the songs that I've written because I don't think my voice is what it used to be. So that might be a challenge to try to do something I should have done 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But maybe, record one here or there. I do need to mention that there's this lady who just happens to be known all over the world who plays the violin and the piano. And she walks up to me one day when I was playing music and said, "Can I play music with you sometime?" And we have played together. I couldn't count how many times. So Ika she just got back from being all over the world. But what an incredible individual on top of her gift of music. And like you said, this community's full of people like that. Always wanted to play music with Brian Nakagawa. I hope I've told him that before, but I always wanted to play with Brian because he's just a fabulous guitar player.
Yeah.
And to be able to go to Hard Rock and play, or up to Bridge Bay and Lake Shasta or other places around town and play music with Brian has been a real treat for me, because you know it's going to be tight, it's going to be organized, it's going to have a beautiful backtrack. It's just going to be a great experience, and not like just playing alone.
Yeah.
And so there are just those kinds of people, and many more, that I just think make music what it can be. Playing alone is fun, but I would rather play some songs alone and other songs with other people, talented people, that are just a great experience.
Well, when you and I played that after party at the Hard Rock,
Well, that was so fun.
That was fun. But Tyler, who I normally play lead with, right? So you're up there playing, and I tell David Toledo, Michael David, to say, get up there and play with Virgil. He'll be fine. Are you sure? Trust me, he'll be fine, right? Because David can sing, he can harmonize, and so he gets up there, left his meal, and he gets up there and plays.
And his wife.
Yeah, and then so when I went up, he stayed up there. But I'm used to this rock style guitar, and he's very jazz oriented, very John Mayer, right?
Yeah.
And so when you play with other musicians, this is my point, it changes what you do.
Yeah, it does.
And so I adjusted what I normally sing, I was saying, to fit that.
Yeah.
And it was like, so to me, that's what's fun.
You're fortunate that you can do that, because not everybody can do that. And some people have their own style, and I'm doing my style, and you can get on board or not. That's your choice. But to be able to adapt to the person that you're playing with, isn't that a gift? I mean, that's a real gift.
Well, I think for me, because I'm basically a rhythm guitar player. I'm not lead player, you know, and I can do vocals. So I feel like whoever's up there, we're in this together now.
Yes.
You know, once we get there, we're in this together. And it's like, sometimes it's like, I don't know if I can find my way with this, right? You know, but you've been very fortunate to be a part of this growing music scene that we're experiencing here. You know,
I think part of it has to do with the fact that I love this community.
Yeah.
And we are blessed, beyond musicians, we are blessed with some incredible people, incredible pastors, incredible, just down-to-earth people, whether it be some of our politicians who are amazing, God-loving people.
Yeah.
And we're just blessed. And I'm sure we have, you know, an occasional person here or there that we would put back. but the majority are just incredible people. And so what a blessing we have to be here during this time when there's so many opportunities to be with people like that.
Yeah. I've noticed that there is a feeling here. I mean, I was born in Brooklyn, so that's a city, right? But I grew up in St. Louis, and for a season lived outside of the city. Well, now you got that Midwest rural feel, and that's what I find here. For whatever reasons, it feels like, you know, you say, well, you're in California. Well, I don't know, but feels like the Midwest to me.
It's not L.A.
Yeah, it's not L.A.
It's not San Francisco.
Nor San Diego.
Not even Sacramento.
Yeah.
I mean, Sacramento has its pluses, but Yuba City is, in this area, this whole North Valley is pretty amazing, pretty incredible.
Well, we live on an island in the sense that it's ag all around us. Where you live is more rural.
Yeah,
You
almost any crop that's grown locally is literally around our house. So
Well,
Are you done talking for 1 second? Can I ask a
you
question?
can do whatever you want. You can hit me and go, hey, I have questions.
I have a question. You didn't talk about your wife.
I
How did
did.
you guys meet? Well, I mean, you've mentioned her name, but how did
Kelly,
you
that's good
meet?
stuff.
How long have you been married?
Yeah,
well,
I need to
okay,
know the
there's
juicy
stories,
details.
and then
there's the truth.
maybe we should ask her the rest of
The
the
truth
story.
is somewhere in between.
But we met in high school.
Oh,
Wow.
high school sweethearts.
It seems to me that I knew who she was, but I had a friend, and Brent had a Camaro, and I got
always
in
a
the
car.
back seat, and she got in the back seat, and so that's when I knew I was okay. And then I had a motorcycle, and she liked to go for motorcycle rides, so that was okay. And this relationship developed, and then eventually, after I got back from my mission, I invited her to marry me on her birthday in the quad of the high school where we hung out in high school.
Wow.
And then we got married on my birthday a few months later so that I wouldn't forget what day.
Smart man.
got
And
married.
this is why you've stayed married so long.
Well,
So how old were you?
the
when you got
challenge
married?
of being married so long has been hers
Yeah.
to put up with me.
Yeah.
How many years have you guys celebrated together?
I should have been prepared for that. I believe it's 48 years. It
Okay.
could be somewhere in that neighborhood.
Wait, we can do quick math. When is your birthday? How old were you?
Yeah. How old were you when
So
you got married?
77 is when we got married.
okay.
Oh, okay.
May of 77. You can do the math.
And how many kids do you guys have?
Well, we have 5 children.
Okay.
We had 16 grandchildren.
Wow.
But 2 of our children remarried. And by adoption or by bonus or by whatever, that increased to 5 more grandchildren
Yeah.
and 5 more great grandchildren. So we're great grandparents, even though they're not ours. We're
Yeah.
claiming them.
Yeah.
So that would be a total of like 26
Wow.
grandchildren and great grandchildren
Yeah.
combined. My
Your
wife said she
kids still
can't
live in the
combine.
area?
We have all but one of our children live in the area.
Where did that one move to?
He moved to Utah
Man, I was going to guess that. I should have guessed
and
it.
builds big buildings for a construction company that builds all over the world. He's the one that just remarried, which added to our number of
You got bonus
grandchildren. And
I like that term.
Yeah.
it is.
Bonus
You need to
kids.
coin that term. You know, we're a blended family where it's like, those are bonus kids.
Yeah.
You got bonus kids.
That's
Are
what
you
we say
kidding?
even when we have like kids over for sleepovers.
Yeah.
We'll be out somewhere. I'm like, we got 2 bonus kids today. It just is what it is.
And
It's
the
a
kid-
Put an
rotating
extra
door.
loaf of bread in the oven.
Yeah, it's a
And
rotating
the
door.
grandkids and great grandkids get bonus grandparents because they don't lose their grandparents.
Yeah.
They just get
Yeah.
bonus grandparents.
I love
so
it.
there's a way to take advantage of that comment.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Bonus grandparents. I love it. Okay, well, I feel better now. I had questions in my head that I needed answered.
You just need to butt in.
I just like start.
Yeah, kick me, slap me. Wow.
No, because you have interesting questions too. I just was curious when you were going to get to that.
Well, the only reason I have interesting questions is I think, what would Kelly ask right now?
Yeah, I bet. What would Kelly
If
say?
I were Kelly, what would I ask Virgil?
He's so full of beans, Virgil.
What
Don't
do you-
even.
Yeah, when he's had a couple of surgeries on his vocal
Oh,
cords,
man.
it never stopped him from talking.
No,
Maybe he whispered,
Yeah.
but he never
He
stopped.
never stopped.
I actually had to go through a month, I think it was. I had to go 4 or 6 weeks where I couldn't talk. And then when I could
I
talk.
don't believe you.
Yeah,
I know,
it
but
was.
did you actually not?
Well, it was so weird because, like, I remember that even the first day I was home, I was sitting in the chair and manspreading.
Yes,
I was
exactly,
manspreading.
obviously.
And my son came in, to see how I'm doing. So I heard him come in. He said, "Hey, Dad." And I said, "What?" And I was like, it's like, you're not supposed to do this, right? So, yeah, that was a harrowing experience. But, yeah. So I had to go for
a radio guy who can't talk.
I know.
It's like torture.
Or sing.
Yeah,
I
you
never
could learn
thought I'd
sign
be able to
language.
sing.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's hard to play guitar and
Sign at the same time.
I have
How long are your toes?
and play the guitar with my Yeah. So, Virg, what is something that Virg has never told anybody?
I seriously doubt that there is anything that I have not told somebody.
Yeah.
But I could tell you something cool.
All right.
Yes,
We'll take it.
So I
Jinxies.
was 11 years old. I was in 6th grade. And my mom and her friends were going to Oakland because that's the only temple we had in Northern California for our faith. You go to LA or Salt Lake or Oakland. And so they were on their way to Oakland. They got to Woodland area and somehow somebody hit them and my mom was seriously injured. And so I went back to school the next day knowing that she was in critical condition. They wouldn't let me go in the hospital back then because I was too young, which is really stupid. But then the principal walks in to my 6th grade classroom and said, "I need you to come with me." And he was just happened to be my neighbor. So good friend, really, really good friend. And so he invited me to come to his office where he told me that she had died and gave me a ride home. So that was tough.
So you were only like 12.
11.
11 or 12, yeah.
I had been praying that God would save her life, but later on, years later, I was told in more detail how seriously she was injured and that she just would not have been happy not doing all the active community stuff that she did. We had a bishop in our faith, Bernard Taylor. He said he could never go visit anybody that was in need or that was sick where my mom hadn't already been there.
Wow.
And so she was that kind of a person. So shortly after that, when I'm kind of struggling with, what's going to happen to me, where's my mom? I knew she was in heaven, but what does that really mean? And I had this dream or this vision where she came to me and she told me that she was okay and that I would be okay. And that's a gift. That's an incredible gift from God to let you know that that she's fine and that I'll be okay. I would rather have had her to be with me. Everybody needs a mom. Everybody needs a dad, a good mom and a good dad. But that was something that kind of helped me gain perspective on the eternities and on life, and knowing that that I was going to probably be okay. It doesn't mean I didn't make some bad decisions in my life, but it made me think of her when I did.
It's interesting that you should tell. My dad died when I was 12, and my brother was in Vietnam, and they were on a hill. He was in the Marine Division, and they were just wiping out. He saw his best friend get killed right next to him, and he said he was so scared he didn't know what to do. And my dad appeared to him and said, "Johnny, you're going to be fine." And he was one of a very few guys that walked off that hill. And that's why when I hear stories like that, some people will say, "Oh, your mom didn't appear to you or your dad." And I'm like, you know what, guys? It happens. It's real. It's very real. And so it's interesting to hear you say that. I didn't know about that. But having had a similar experience, well, my brother had that. He didn't appear to me, but I was not in the need that Johnny was at that point, right? So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
but I've had a lot of experiences like that over the years. I think I would share one more. a friend and I were driving to Robbins. There's girls that live in Robbins, and they were really cute. And we were going
before Roxanne. Just kidding.
That's before Roxanne.
Okay. I just wanna make sure. Okay.
Pre-Roxanne. We want to make that clear because she's going to watch this.
Yeah, so we were going somewhere between 110 and 120 miles an hour, and I get this prompting, and the prompting said, you need to slow down. Well, obviously, I knew I needed to slow down, but the music was really loud, and we were doing just fine, and then this prompting came again, you need to slow down. I still was going at least 110. And then the prompting came and said, your left front tire is going to blow out. You need to slow down. So by the time I slowed down to about 70, that tire blew out. And I headed on into the other lane with basically a head-on. And that guy managed to get off the road. There's not a lot of places to get off the road on the way to Robbins, but there just happened to be a way to get out. And so eventually I could get back in my lane and get off the road. There was nothing left of that tire. We were driving on the rim. You could see the rim marks in the other lane as we tried to pull back over. And so those kinds of things have happened over and over again, where that still small voice will say, you know, you probably shouldn't say that, or you probably should say, I'm sorry, Roxanne. I never should have said that or done that. And I just think those promptings of the Spirit are cherished if we will learn to listen and to hear them and follow what God wants us to do.
I absolutely believe that. And so apparently that prompting said, go be a firewoman.
Before you chicken out.
Yeah. Or time to run the Iron Woman competition, you know?
Not yet.
No, I think yours was make
Someday.
bread.
Yeah. My current one was make bread.
Well, listen, Virgil, I can't thank you enough. We've been talking about having you in, and then we're trying to work our schedule. So this is the reward of having survived the tank with Kelly and I.
Thank you. I will drink fresh squeezed orange juice out of this cup daily.
Excellent.
Daily. We have wheelbarrows full of oranges from last year, and they are incredible, sweet, beautiful oranges. So I will cherish this.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come on. I kind of wish we had another hour, but, you know, Kelly just refuses to talk. I don't know what to do with her.
An hour is my limit with this guy.
Listen, we appreciate having Virgil come on. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as Kelly and I have, and just getting to see a different side. A couple of things I did not know about Virgil. I didn't know that he was born here.
Yeah.
You know, and raised here, and just great commentary on who he is. And it gives everybody, I hope, in the community an opportunity to see Virgil Atkinson, not Atkins.
Good job.
I always call him Atkins. Eh?
The son of
Atkins, the Atkins son. Anyway, thanks so much. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a break, and then Kelly and I are going to be back, and we're going to talk smack about Virgil. No, we're not.
We would never.
Anyway, thank you. 93Q Radio was an opportunity for what's called an LPFM to give the community a voice.
The big part of what's happening here is it's us. It's the community of us.
The work that Mr. Fischetti has done with us to promote public education has been absolutely groundbreaking.
They have the pulse of our community, from the nonprofits to the local governments. If you want to find out what's happening in our community, get on board with 93Q.
And 93Q does so much to help our community, helps us promote our local events, as well as local businesses, and tell our story about what we do here in Yuba Sutter.
The folks that work here, they're part of our community, so they understand our needs, and that's important.
Local radio is so important during times of emergency. They're there. We lean on them to provide information to our public.
My wife and I are glad to support 93Q. We're going to do it on a monthly basis, but I really recommend that if you want to make your community better, this is a great place to take a first step right here.
So if you can, reach deep into your pocket and give to 93Q.
93Q is a great partner for law enforcement, and they're a great partner for the Yuba Sutter area.
We're really asking people if you can give $10, $15, $20 a month, and then that enables us to continue to put small business spots on the air, nonprofits, organizations that are they're using every dollar they got just to operate, and they don't have extra money to spend on really promoting their cause. And that is why community radio, to me, I'm grateful to be part of it, and that's why it's important. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back. As usual, Kelly and I'll have somebody on, and then, afterwards when they leave, I jokingly say we'll talk smack about them, but we talk about them because we got to know them better.
I think we need like a new term. It's like not talking smack. It's like talking praise or something. We're bragging on them. We get to like come back and brag on them.
Yeah.
I didn't know Virgil hardly at all. I knew him from seeing him out playing music, but I did not know. And you were surprised that he was born and raised here.
Here, I did, for whatever reason.
Only gone for 2 years?
Yeah. I always thought that Virg was, born somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
He seems like he could be an Oregon, Washington native,
Yeah.
Easily.
Isn't that funny? We start to like make stories up for people.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it was really good. And then we got to the last part of the interview when he started talking about these supernatural, wonderful things that have happened, and I've experienced that. And I was like, maybe at some point we'll do a show about that, right?
Yeah.
Ask people, and what kind of experiences have you had that they're not explainable, but they are.
I think people are so hesitant to share because they're not sure how they're going to be received. Mm-hmm. But if you like open that door for discussion. Yeah. Anytime I, tell a story, somebody almost always has a story back, but it's not something we like openly discuss. It would be fun to do a show on it.
Well, I think all of us somewhere have had an experience that, honestly, like you said, you could hear your grandmother. What'd she call you?
Kelly Jean.
Kelly Jean.
Yeah. My middle name is Jean.
I would have gone with Kelly May.
Yeah.
Kelly May.
Kelly Jean Jelly Bean is actually my full.
But we I don't know why we have a tendency to discount those things. Because they're so real. At that particular moment, you knew exactly what was going on. Yeah. You knew. And I remember when my mom died, she was back east. My brother was with her. And my mom was a beautiful young woman. She sang on radio and and so I remember, and she had this smile that would just really light up a room. So all of a sudden I woke up about 3, and it's one of those where you're half awake, half asleep, and I saw my mom's face, and you could tell she was older. She died of brain cancer, so she really struggled. She would try to say things. She could think them, but she couldn't say them. And I saw just the wear on her, and literally it was like one of those things they do, morphing, they call it, and I just watched her become a young girl again. It was amazing, and she was totally happy. And my brother called me later that day and said, "Mom passed last night," and I said, "Zell, I knew." Yeah. I knew. I think there's so many things to let us know, there's hope beyond this life. Yeah. This life's rough. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. This is not, I don't care how many Hawaiian shirts you wear. This is not paradise. I don't know. It's
not for the faint of heart to be on this earth. Yes. Yeah.
But getting an opportunity, once Virg started talking about that, didn't you feel like, could we go on?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what else could we talk about, right? You know?
I know. Then we needed another hour.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Almost felt like, we wasted that time. But we didn't. We got to find out.
No, we got
about
to know
him.
more about him.
And I didn't know that he came from a big family either. But part of that is because he's the baby. And I don't care what anybody says, if you're the baby, you are a little different.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
get to be the baby.
Yeah, you get to be like an only child in
Yeah.
a way. You know, it's like you.
And they're great grandparents now.
Oh my god.
Which is super cool.
He doesn't look that old, and I've seen Roxanne. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, they. He said he's turning 70,
Yeah, he's in his 70s.
and so, I mean, by now you'd have great.
Yeah.
I just have grandchildren. I don't have great grandchildren yet.
Not yet.
And my oldest grandson's 15, and no matter what I tell him, he refuses to go get some girl pregnant. I just think he's got some moral code. Which
I'm
I
sure
think is
his
right.
parents are thanking him, not you.
I would not say that. I did that with my boys. They'd bring home a date, and I'd go, "Oh, you're about childbearing age."
Oh my gosh. What not to say. Thanks, Dad. They never called back.
I know. And pretty soon they
That's
weren't
how you
bringing
weed
their
them out.
girlfriends home.
Yeah, you weed them out real early.
Pay no attention to my phone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He's off his rocker.
So I really enjoyed Virgil.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed. As much as I've known him, there's something about what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a relaxed atmosphere or whatever.
Wait till we get couches.
Oh, you'll be like laying on the couch.
I will. But it'll be a little bit like a psych office, though.
Instead of this, you'll have like a special pillow.
I will have like a blanket.
Yeah.
I have my fuzzy slippers on.
So, I have some plans for next week.
Oh, okay.
I have asked now whether they're going to be willing or not. They seem like they're a little too busy at this moment, but
Yeah.
we'll see. And then, of course, there's other people. I do want to thank you because I did not know Jim King. And
Wasn't that
I
fun?
felt that was a great opportunity to really hear his heart. I mean, he was very honest. I do this because I care about people, but if I don't make a profit, I can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
So he was very honest about it's a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he loves that he has a business. And you and I have got to go try the steak thing.
Oh, I know. We
Come
gotta
on.
we gotta do Chop House.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Chop House.
All right, we'll work on that.
Yeah, maybe mobile from Chop House.
Oh, man.
Because then we could bring Kurt.
Kurt
So
should
Kurt's
go.
like,
Kurt
yeah.
likes steak.
Yeah.
Kurt
Kurt
eats
has to
steak.
go.
Kurt could eat a steak this big.
What's that movie? There's nothing left but gristle.
What is that? Was that that was Chris Farley or who was it?
That
Oh
was
no.
John Candy.
John Candy.
Yeah.
And that's where he goes and he's like
He's got to eat the 96er. Is that what it was?
Yeah. The bear, big bear.
Yeah.
Big
Big bear.
chase me.
Man, outdoors.
Outdoors. I think that was it. Yeah, it was a great movie. Well, listen, I know she's not going to do this, even though she should be the one.
Not doing it. I'll just stare at you awkwardly.
All right. So, again, thanks so much. I don't even know what episode this is. Kurt keeps track of that. But we want to thank you for watching In the Tank with Fish and Minnow, Kelly. And we really, all we're trying to do is invite people from the community in, and we all get to know them a little better. It's really our goal. And so, if you've enjoyed this, go to 93Q YouTube, which is where you're watching it, or if you see it where it comes across Facebook. And you can watch previous episodes. You can leave us a comment down there. Let us know what you really think of the fact that Kelly never talks.
Everyone's going to tell you to quiet down, and maybe
I
she
know.
would.
I'm going to get a lot of shut up, shut up. Which
No.
part of shut or up don't you get?
I'm
right?
not shy. I'll just kick you if I need to say something.
Yeah, you need to do that. Yeah, you need that. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. I don't know if we have a subscribe? That's what I'm looking
There you
for.
go.
If you subscribe, and I'm just learning this, so be patient with me, but it would appear as though then you won't miss an episode because it will tell you, oh, there's an episode of Kelly and the Fish. Maybe changing it. Right? Anyway, thanks so much for watching.